And then he says in verse 10, "For as the rain and the snow come down from heaven, and do not return there without watering the earth, and making it bear and sprout," so the moisture heals the earth, "and furnishing seed to the sower and bread to the eater," verse 11, "so will my word," everybody say my word, "so will my word be which goes forth from my mouth." Now you can think about the spoken word, but you can also think about Jesus, the Word, made flesh and dwelt among us. "So will my word be which goes forth from my mouth. It will not return to me empty." Just like the rain doesn't return empty. "It will not return to me empty without accomplishing what I desire and without succeeding in the matter for which I sent it." The New Living Translation of verse 11 says it this way: "It's the same thing with my word. I send it out, and it always produces fruit. It will accomplish all I want it to, and it will prosper everywhere I send it." You and I can be the same way. Our words can work for us, and they should work for us rather than against us. In Luke chapter 8, verse 11, I won't read the whole thing, but about the parable of the sower, Jesus said, "Now the parable is this: the seed is the word of God." Everybody say, the seed is the word of God. You don't have to be an expert about seeds to know this, that a seed is a little bitty tiny thing. But in that little bitty tiny thing that seems so inconsequential, it has the power to reproduce itself hundreds of times over, doesn't it? Produce even more seeds. But what do you have to do with the seed? It has to go into the ground, doesn't it? It has to be buried, doesn't it? And then you got to leave it alone for a while, don't you? You have to water it. There has to be some water that comes to it. And you leave it alone, and after a while, it produces a crop, doesn't it? Our words are the same way. But because it doesn't produce a crop instantaneously, usually, you know, sometimes we lose heart, we have lost heart, and we've just forgot about it, and we say, well, you know, this confession stuff really doesn't work. Well, it does work, and when you said it didn't work, it worked. Now, the word confess, you understand, in Romans chapter 10, it says, "If you believe with your heart that God has raised him from the dead and confess with your mouth Jesus as Lord, you will be saved." The word confess, con, is a prefix which means with. Confess, I'm going to agree with him. The Greek word for confess is homologeo, which means to say the same thing as. So God is saying, when you say the same thing as I say, it's going to come to pass.